group that he worked with to go on this particular trip is a very left-leaning progressive group, to be clear. Why did you go into a conflict zone? You could say it is a war zone, but a conflict zone, knowing that you did not coordinate with the Israeli government, which he did not. The Israeli ambassador to the United States came out and said he did not work with us. If you're going to go to get to that area, you've got to go through Israeli territories. How many checkpoints are there now? There used to be, 130 checkpoints? I mean, it is that zone, that region has been on, I don't want to say lockdown, but it's been tense for decades. So he knew exactly what he was doing. And why? Was he trying to get away from the Graham Plattner controversy? Right. That was one of my question marks. But I think the bigger question mark is stop saying that everybody's lying, including the government, the IDF, and the Israelis in general. Just it's disingenuous.
And he goes on the Jewish Sabbath, too. I mean, he knew what he was doing.
He's anti-Semitic.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't think you have to be a genius to figure that out.
Yeah. And I posit one answer to the question of why is, since he is a long-shot presidential candidate, he wants to have that quiver in his belt. He wants to do the lying like Hillary Clinton got shot at in Bosnia, Joe Biden had to fly the helicopter into battle, whatever it is.
And he grew up black.
These lies, exactly, that they tend to pad themselves with, even though we can all see through it.
Yeah, he just staged his presidential run announcement for free and probably got a lot more publicity than if he had hired an entire crew to put together a news conference and had bought ads across the country. He will now get enough attention. And Emily, you're so right about flexing on that point where the far left is right now. Anti-Semitic, maybe they have feelings about that, but we saw them rocking pro-Palestinian and pro-Hamas signs for months here on Ivy League campuses on the East Coast. So, look, he's doing this. The catch, though, is he's courting a part of his party that 6 months ago would have annihilated him politically. We don't really know who this chameleon is. You pointed it out. He's kind of been moderate, and now he's something else. We don't really know him, but we know that he likes free press. And that's what he got. And somehow or another also sneaked in, because it's not a demilitarized zone, but it is an area with checkpoints where you have to check in. So I'm just curious why he gets special treatment, but nobody else could. And then he can turn around. He didn't mess with the IDF. He said the citizens were armed. He's like, those people were at the checkpoint with those guns. Yeah, that comes across as Jew-hating to me.
Hoodlums.
He also declined the offer to meet with October 7th survivors.
That's right.
And you know what he said? He said, basically, been there, done that. And as a defense, he said that he had I met with Hirsch Goldberg's parents, Rachel and John. I looked up when he did that. April 2024, when Joe Biden was president. This is when there was more support in the Democratic Party for Israel. That's when he met with them. But this time, when he's exploring presidential aspirations and figuring out where he can go and going with a pro-Palestinian group, it tells you everything you need to know about how fluid he is, to your point, about politics as Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, shapeshifters. Yeah. Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and Mike by Israeli settlers during a trip to the West Bank. Khanna claims that he was surrounded by settlers with American-made machine guns while driving through a village. The Israeli military says that troops responded to Khanna's team's call, dispersed the crowd, and reopened the road. But Khanna is accusing the IDF of lying about what really happened. Watch.
This should be an outrage to any American citizen, what happened. We were there seeing the Zenuda village, which Yanan Levy had destroyed, burned to the ground. Many American members of Congress had been there before. We drove up to the road, and these hoodlums with M4s circled our van. They started kicking the tires. They yelled insults. They said it didn't matter that we were Americans. People should look at the video. First of all, there was a New York Times photographer with us. There was journalists with us. There's a detailed account, but the people should look at the video. The video shows the IDF, 4 soldiers that are blocking us and detaining us.
Paul, your thoughts on that?
Wow, what a drama queen. I mean, first of all, the guy says that his life was endangered, okay? Did anybody put him in cuffs? Did anybody point a gun at him? Was he locked up someplace in a facility? None of those things happened. But a New York Times photographer just happened to be there. And to me, the biggest tell is one of the statements he puts out is this really the way to treat a long-shot presidential candidate? I don't know where that came from. That's a new piece of information. He considers himself presidential material, but that tells you all you need to know. Of course, that's what he goes to, and that's what he says. Let's recognize who he is. And I want to take this outside the context of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict here, because this is about him. This guy is a DSA member who has been masquerading as somebody who is a lot more moderate. Just look at his record. I got it all written down here. I won't bore you with it, but he signed on to AOC's Green New Deal. He represents, and it ties to our last segment, he represents Silicon Valley. So he is an avatar of all of their beliefs relative to Israel, and that's why he's out doing this. And he's probably already done the calculus and say, okay, I do this kind of thing. I got California. I got a whole bunch of electoral college votes, boop, already in the bag. Right. Maybe governor, maybe president after that. He's done a whole bunch of stuff, including authorizing a piece that went into the George Floyd anti-police bill that would have taken qualified immunity away from police. So he says his life is in danger there. Take qualified immunity away from the police and see how your life is in danger anywhere in this country.